Hello, hello, hello. This is Goze. I am adding my sister, my leader mind sis, which I guess I haven't done on Instagram in a while. There we go.
Boom.
Winning at life.
It's already
Okay,
cool.
hold on. There we go. There, I can fit more in that screen. But I want to put my feet up too. So one second, let me get my little, I'm sitting in my little recliner. So to keep this from being too chaotic, because I am 99.9% sure that I have ADHD. So I checked in with our little friend Chat GPT to come up with some questions to guide our conversation. Because you
Mhm.
know me, I'll be like, I'm working on it. I swear I'm working on it. So
We
the
all
reason okay, we're doing the best we could do. The reason I'm bringing you on, Joe, the creatrix, and I'm going to give you some time to introduce yourself. One of the reasons is because it's National Polyamory Day, and who better to celebrate with than my fellow sister in the non-monogamy world? Also, we talked about doing some live stuff a long time ago,
yes.
and we never got to it. And sometimes, all that planning and waiting and we go, sometimes I just be like, what you doing right now? Cool, let's do it. You know what I
As
mean?
you
Because you
did.
be planning.
And being a manifest generator, what plans? What
Yeah.
plans?
And you be making plans. And I love making plans, right? Because like you, I have the leader mind. But plans don't always work.
They don't. They don't.
Sometimes you just got to be in the moment. So
Sometimes I'll
I
plan
thought
myself out of a plan.
that part. How many times have I planned myself out of a plan? Now that's a whole sermon. Oh, I think my baby brother's on here. Hey, Curvin, that's my brother. That's my
Hey,
blood.
baby brother.
Curvin Lamar. Yep, that's my actual. We got the same daddy.
Oh,
Um,
snap.
so, uh, so I thought today was a good day to celebrate polyamory, and I figured why not you? And so
Yeah.
I have some questions that I thought we could answer. It's a lot of questions. We won't get through all of them. But I figured it's a good place to start and it'll keep my brain from squirreling all day. Hey. Oh, did you get my text? Kirby, did you get my text? I sent you a picture of our dad's yearbook photo. Okay, that's enough family business for now. Uh, so, first thing, for anybody who ends up seeing this live who doesn't know me, my name is Goze. I am also the Black Love Permissionist. I am an intrapersonal and interpersonal relationship advocate, coach, trauma educator, uh, community builder, activist, artist, and if you ask me, an all around dope ass individual. And I'm bringing in my sister friend, my leader minded sister friend, who I met in a metaphysical community, and so glad to know her. So her name is Joe the Creatrix. So tell us about yourself, Joe.
Yes, my name is Joe, Joe the Creatrix. I am a feminine empowerment guide. I'm a sensual body guide. All the sensual things and sexual things and kink and intimacy things that folks either like to talk about or are scared to talk about. I am the person that holds space for that. I'm also a oracle reader, a chakra healing facilitator and therapist. All the things. The model of sorts, body paint model. Just
Yes,
multifaceted naturally.
yes, yes. And I think that's why I appreciate you so much. From one multidimensional human to another, It's
Yeah.
always lovely to see a Black woman living her truth and not trying to fit in a box.
Yes.
And especially in a day and age where everybody wants to push Black women into boxes that we don't belong in, to have the courage to say, hey, I've done everything I could to get out of that box, and you can't put toothpaste back in the tube. I'm out, baby. I'm already out.
I'm out of
I
there.
don't even know what to tell you.
I'm out of there. Can't
I
squeeze me
can't
back
even
in there.
fit. I'm out. And so I think this is going to be a really delightful spur of the moment conversation, um, because I just think so much cool stuff is going to come from this. So my intention is that we will celebrate polyamory and our polyamorous journey, and whatever else comes of it, we gonna flow with it, because that's what we have to do sometimes.
Yeah.
So my first question for you is, what was the first moment you realized that monogamy did not fit you?
Ooh. The first day I realized that before I even knew that there were options for
Come on.
anything otherwise. And I think a lot of polyamorous people go through that, before you realize like there are other ways to approach a relationship than just monogamy. I think a lot of
Yeah.
us grow up with this thought process that there's one formula to a relationship,
Yes.
that monogamy is that way.
Yeah.
Um, and I've just always been a person that understood my need for more
Mm-hmm.
than one person in my life, whether it
Yeah.
was, and not necessarily sexually, but even if it was, how to navigate what that looks like for me. Because that aspect of polyamory, when it comes to the physical, everybody approaches it different. You know what I mean? And so prior to me coming into the metaphysical school that you spoke of, that we were a part of, um, I've always been a person that I would be in a relationship, but there would still be a certain need for another masculine in my space. I always
Mm-hmm.
understood that, or I would always think to myself, like, dang, if I could just put you and this person in one body, that would work for me.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't do that. I'm magical, but I'm not that magical.
Mm-hmm. And if I am that magical, I don't want to use that magic. That don't seem
Right. I
right.
don't I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So it became how do I figure out how to navigate and communicate that I desire or need, more than one person, more than one masculine in my environment. And that was maybe, I want to say maybe 2019, when I started really
Mm-hmm.
like looking around as far as like research or like coming across things and stuff like that. I started coming across people that were living non-traditional lives. So
So you were
that
in
made,
your 20s.
yes,
That's
well,
so
I'm
dope.
36 now. So I was about to be in my 30s. I was maybe
Mm-hmm.
28, 29,
That's
around
dope.
there, when I figured that out. Now, when I started actually communicating that, it was probably when I was 30. You know what I mean? When I had more definitive understanding of, polyamory, open relating, ethical non-monogamy, and things of that sort, is when I started to communicate that with the people that I was, coming across.
Mm. I love
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah.
love that. And I think it's super dope because you and I have, you said you're 38. How old did you say you were?
36.
36? Okay. So we have almost a decade between us. I'm 45.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was around 35 when I started getting introduced to polyamorous people and people who were just identifying differently. And I was about 38 when I said, okay, I'm out the closet, baby. I've been this way, but I didn't know how to talk about it. But now I have some language to describe it. And so, since the age of 38, I've been identifying openly as a polyamorous woman. And similarly to you, I I always knew that I didn't want to put all my eggs in one basket. It felt weird. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like that with friendships. I was like that with family. I was the kind of person that felt like more is more, not less is more.
Right.
And I always felt like, well, if I can have a lot of friends, if I can have a lot of people in my family I connect with, that poured into it. Man, even if we think about my interests, right? Like we listed off the long list of things we do, right? I was a musician, actress, um, I storyteller, writer. Then we would get into the work I do, for my business, right? Coach,
Mm-hmm.
educator, facilitator, spiritual guide, and all these things that I do. I was never just a one trick pony. Some
Right.
people, they know from the time they're little. When I grow up, I'm going to be a cop. I have a cousin who just passed. He knew since he was a little boy he was going to be a cop. He was a cop for 10 years. That
Mm-hmm.
was the life he was going to have. It was no doubt about it. Some girls even, they know, from the time they're like 4. Ooh, when I get, they're already putting on their Barbies into wedding clothes, and they're already,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get married, and when I have kids, and then they grow up and they live that life, and they're very happy to
Mm-hmm.
live that life. They always knew that they were meant to be a wife. They always knew they were meant to be a mother.
Yep.
And then there was me. I wanted a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of that. I was going to draw, and then I wanted to play with my Barbies, and then I wanted to go play sports. And then when I got through playing with sports, I wanted to go be a scholar. Then I liked to read, but then I loved the animals. And I was just never that person that was just like, just so
Just
focused on one
one
thing.
thing. Yeah.
And it showed up um, for me in high school because I was in love with 2 different boys. But I was still a virgin. I mean, I'm still a virgin, but back then I was a virgin. That's when I was really virginal. Is that even a
You know,
word?
I had been deflowered.
Super virgining. I'm not deflowered. I still have flowers. I still have flowers. I might not have all the petals that I once had, but I still have flowers.
Like my flowers still intact.
There are flowers. It's a flower garden.
Forever flourishing.
Of flourishing. But when I was in high school, I knew, and it had nothing to do with sex, right? And it had everything to do with my heart capacity.
Hmm.
And I was very clear that I had, that kind of heart capacity for more.
Yeah.
But I didn't have language.
Hmm.
And I was in high school, in the late 90s. And the only language they had for people who were not committed to one person or people who like to be free, it was negative language. They're going to call you a hoe. They're going to call you, if you're a man, they're going to call you a dog. If
Hmm.
you're a woman, they're going to call you a whole host of names. And, and so I had heard so much negative language around it. I knew, well, shit going on inside of me. I ain't going to talk about it. And I wasn't doing anything.
Right.
But I didn't want nobody to know I was thinking the things I knew because it was so different from the group think,
Hmm.
um, that I just, went on about my business. And
Yeah.
so I didn't get, and then I went through church, and I was talking about this in a video I did today. I went through church, and I spent most of my adult life in church.
Hmm.
Well, I guess I can't really say that anymore. I spent about 12 years of my adult life in church. And a very strict church, and the kind of church that believed that their way was the only way. Like the other churches, they wasn't hitting on shit. This was the only way you was gonna get to heaven. And so you could only date people in that denomination.
Hmm.
So so I dated, in the church. I did it God's way, right? And even in that, I knew I was different.
Yeah.
Like I would hear girls talk about like they only had like sexual desires for like one person, or they didn't have sexual desires at all because, you know, the goodness of God just kind of pushed that to the side for them. And I was like, man, I'm always horny. How y'all? Like I was celibate. I was committed to the celibacy journey because,
Hmm.
I was like, okay, if I'm gonna rock with Jesus and this is the way we do it here,
Right.
fine. But y'all not horny? Oh, I can't relate.
Maybe I'm
And
not
then
tapped
not,
in like y'all tapped in.
I was trying to figure out what was going on. And that's when I started realizing somebody lying.
Somebody
I thought
lying. Somebody lying.
I knew somebody was lying, girl. So I was big on like, I know that this is a life I've chosen, but I knew for a fact, even when I had a boyfriend for 2 years in the church. I was so smitten over him.
Mm-hmm.
Smitten. But I always like to keep a bunch of guy friends around. I was always going to be friends with other men. I always like to have intimate connections with different people.
Mm-hmm.
And and so that's when I got introduced to the concept of emotional cheating. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, emotional cheating?
But I ain't fucking them now.
Yeah, it felt to me that felt like some shit people made up. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like you don't want somebody to be close to somebody else, so now you're gonna just call any old thing cheating. I'm like, all right. And again, all of this is happening during a celibacy journey. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
not having sex with anybody, even my boyfriend.
Right.
But I knew I was different. I knew my wiring was different. I knew that I was open to more.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward, I started getting around, communities of people who are doing things different. And I was like, oh, there's language for this. Who knew?
Yeah. Right. Right. And I agree. And it actually makes you think even further back than my 30s and late 20s. Like, I remember being in my early college time and like still having a very strong relationship with my high school partner, but
Yep.
then discovering somebody else in college and that becoming very strong, but me still wanting to have both of them in my lives and being very communicative of that. And
Yeah.
even though I didn't have the proper verbiage for it and
Yeah.
communication for it, I still couldn't, like you said, I couldn't fit in the box. And so I had to say something. And I
Yep.
found that they both were understanding of it, you know what I mean, to a point, simply
Hmm.
because they wanted to still have a certain relationship and dynamic with me.
Yep.
So if I would have had the tools in my early 20s,
Yes.
who knows what those relationships could have been.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, I mean, respectfully, all those people, I still adore them. They adore me. It's a lot of respect in
Yep.
it. But am I with those people? No. But they
Yep.
hold admiration, for me. Um, but yeah, if I had the toolage at the time, because
Hmm.
similar to you, like in my early 20s, I was still going to church because that's what I was raised on. You know what I mean? Especially being in
Yep.
college, you looking for community. A lot of
Yep.
kids go to college and they look for community, and what is familiar is we went to church. So
Hmm.
you find the college kids, y'all go to church together. But once we leave church, we still are in college. We still want to experience,
Right.
you know what I mean? And I mean, navigating relationships in college is almost like navigating something very non-traditional because you have access now to so many other types of people, and there's no way to be attracted to one person on a campus full of hundreds, you know what I mean, and not one at a time. So you learn to navigate that, and like you said, I would have typically have a lot more homeboys than anything, you know what I mean, and they would want to be around me just as much as I want to be around them. It wasn't sexual necessarily, even if we understood that there was an attraction. I
Yeah.
always tell people I don't got no ugly friends, so like, of
Yeah.
course, there's gonna be an attraction between me and my friends, or I'm gonna find
Yeah.
them attractive, or they're gonna find me attractive. But does that mean we act upon it? No, it does not. And I didn't even have verbiage for that. But now, going through the communities that we have went through, you understand that it's okay to have those types of dynamics. And if not only it is okay, it's healthy as well to have these types of dynamics and to learn to that you can build relationship and connection without having to necessarily have sex. I think that used to be a lot of what I was taught to understand, especially being in monogamy. Like if I'm attracted to you and you attracted to me and we want to be together or we want to be around each other, something about that level has to be in it. You know what I mean? We're supposed to have sex, but it's like, no, I actually don't have to have sex with you just because I'm attracted to you and you attracted to me. Like, we can love each other and show affection with each other and be partnered without there being a physical level to that when it comes to like penetration in a sense.
Woo! First of all, hell yeah, girl, you just started bam, 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 like hitting so many points. Um, so we have to slow you down because you dropped so many gems in there. So one thing I want to extract from that, I had this question: what's something you wish more people celebrated about polyamory?
I mean,
And for
obviously.
me, what you said, right? Some of the deepest relationships, the most intimate and potent and meaningful relationships I've had have been with people who I am not sexual with.
Mhm.
I have had some of the most beautiful relationships. And even if we were sexual at some point
Mhm.
and aren't today,
Mhm.
the relationships with people who connected with me for something other than sex, even if there was sex at one point, of course, I'm a virgin, so, this is all hypothetical. But even if there was sex at some point,
It was
I,
telepathic.
you know what I'm saying? It was tantric. It was tantric, right? But even if at some point that's what the relationship had, the relationships that have not focused on sex or romance, I've
Mhm.
gotten the most from them because I knew that they were over here for me,
Right.
not for sex. And, I've seen some people, and this is in the monogamous communities and poly communities alike, who are so hyper focused on sex,
Mhm.
where to them, sex is what makes the relationship valuable.
Right.
And I was never like that, ever. I was always, I think I would be what people would call demisexual,
Mhm.
right? If I'm emotionally safe with you, then
Yeah.
I'm more open to feeling
If it's
sexually
emotional
attracted to you.
safety, if there's intellectual safety, those type of things, then you might get the telepathic. you
It could happen, okay? It could
know,
happen.
you might get.
Um, I like that, the telepathic.
But I
I
think I,
like
I
that.
think I think thinking about it like that though,
Yeah,
it works or has always worked for me because, like you said, there are
yeah,
there are partnerships that I've been in where like sex was a part of it, and
yeah,
there are situations where now that is not the thing. I mean, shit, I'm
yeah,
I'm completely unpartnered at the moment,
yeah,
but that does not take away from connections that I still have. You know what I mean? The ones that
yes,
did see the value in being connected with me outside
yeah,
of sex. You know what I mean? Um,
exactly.
so yeah, I definitely do agree. Definitely agree.
Yeah. I think in a monogamous culture, there's so much pressure, stigma, and repression that sometimes when you bring up, because, to me, this is one of the things I celebrate about polyamory, but sometimes when you bring up that telepathic connections don't have to be the focus,
Mhm.
that really be rocking people's brains. It's like you are literally saying something sacrilegious, like it's blasphemy.
Right. You can
And
cut them out somehow.
and I'm like, well, first of all, what I love about polyamory is there's no one way to poly. If it's that important to you, great. That just means that we might not necessarily be in alignment
Right.
because the way my ethics and my morals and my values are set up, I actually I center one, my relationship with myself, but also my relationships with my friends and my family more
Mhm.
so, than that kind of thing. And some people, for them, the pinnacle of relationships is romantic, intimate partnerships, marriage, and that's above all. And if they can have that, then the rest of the stuff, who cares? Friends, who needs them?
Right.
Relationship with myself, who cares? Village, community, whatever.
Right.
I'm not that kind of person. I never was,
Mm-hmm.
and so that has definitely brought with it challenges, but it's also made room for authentic connections with people who do align with me. It almost like clears the path where people who don't align, they ain't gonna stick around long anyway once they see that I'm really about what I say I'm about.
Right. And even it also makes me think about, like you said, there are people who hold the romantic aspect
Yeah.
at such a high regard
Yeah.
that when that is no longer a thing in the
Mhm.
dynamic,
Mhm.
they don't have necessarily the capacity to stay connected to that person
Mhm. Mhm.
because the
Mhm.
romance is no longer involved. Like you said, that was the marker for them of what partnership is. And so if that's no
Yep.
longer there, they now feel like woe is me, and this, I guess this is coming to an end, when it's like, well, it doesn't necessarily have to come to an end.
Yep.
This is maybe
Yep.
a factor that is no longer prevalent, but that doesn't take
Exactly.
away the fact that, hell, you and this person might be capable of doing business together, or you and this person may be meant to be friends throughout y'all's lives because y'all give something to each other energetically that outweighs the romantic aspect of things.
Everything you said. Everything you said. And I would add to it. You know, sometimes I think because we live in a capitalistic society, with and colonialism, which brings capitalism, patriarchy, white supremacy, oftentimes we look at relationships as transactions.
Mm-hmm.
What can I get out of this person? And
Right.
when we look at people like that, then it's really easy to say, oh, well, if I can't get this thing, if I value romance above all or sex above all, if I can't get that, then now you are disposable. You are
Right.
now useless to me. And
Mm.
since I can't get that, peace out. And I think that some of us run the risk, not all, because sometimes people really do need to get the fuck on out your life, right?
Sometimes.
But sometimes I think, in a culture that's so like addicted to canceling and disposing of people and treating people as an object, right? Objectifying people. I think what we run the risk of is tossing a person in the trash who really might be an important member of our soul's journey.
Right.
And so it could be someone who really we might be spiritually bonded to. And
Mm-hmm.
it was the relationship was given to us so that we could grow, so that we could expand. And maybe it entered our life from a romantic perspective,
Mm.
but maybe it was never supposed to stay there.
Right.
And I think some of us, and I hate to use the language of missed the opportunity because, whatever, if it's yours, it's yours. But I think some of us, because of our lack of maturity in understanding love and growth and expansion and, just having that disconnection from who we are, we can just be throwing people away who really wasn't meant to be thrown away, is what I'm trying to get to.
Right. All over one factor. And I do agree, and I think about that in my, because me being a multifaceted woman and a creative woman, I
Yeah.
attract a lot of creative people,
Mm-hmm.
beings. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then also being very intellectual, I attract those people
Mm-hmm.
as well. So they're usually a combination of creative energy and intellectual energy. And
Mm-hmm.
for me to understand and know that creative energy is also sexual energy, I
Mm-hmm.
understand how a lot of the people who gravitate towards me creatively,
Mm-hmm.
there ends up being this cycle that
Yeah.
does feel very sexual because there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
creative energy being cycled between us just out of natural ability and natural magnetism. So, like you said, there's been situations where it may have started off romantic because our level of creative bonding also created a level of sexual bonding as well.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, like you said, once if the sexual aspect wasn't supposed to be there, I'm very big on like, well, we still have the creative side, but there are some people, because they were so focused on the sexual, they no longer see the benefit of us being creatively intertwined. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Which is
that
usually
part.
unfortunate because, like you said, there's a lot of beauty that could have been, missed in a sense, and a lot of
Yeah.
creation that could have been missed.
Yep. Yep. I think so. I think so. Let's see. What other question do I have for you? Um, ooh, what is the funniest misconception someone has ever had about your relationship orientation?
Um, the funniest one is usually that because I am a polyamorous woman, they associate that with being like this extremely free spirited person. Um, and I realize a lot of people define free spirited and sexually free in all kinds of ways. So they assume that that means I'm just open to fuck whoever, and if I'm attracted to them, then it'll go down like almost in a swinger
Oh,
sense. And no issue if a person is a swinger.
yes.
You know what I mean? Like if you like to
Yes.
swing, that's you. Do your thing. But I'm not a swinger. Um, I'm very
Conflating
intentional.
polyamory with swinging.
Right.
Yes.
I'm a very intentional person with my partnerships, with my lovers. I mean, like you said, being a leader minded woman in person, I have to put people not necessarily in a box, but I have to understand, are you a partner? Are you a lover? Are you an associate? Are you a friend? Is this business? Like there are several different levels at which I put people in to understand how to navigate it for me. And so
What's
I think
that Bill Withers song? Who is he and what is he to you?
right,
Like
you know what I mean?
it
You
needs to
gotta
make
ask
sense.
yourself that every interaction I have to ask myself that. So I think the funniest thing that people assume that because I am a polyamorous woman that I just have this plethora of people in my
Hmm.
life that I sexually
Your
engage
life
with.
is just one big orgy.
Yeah, and it's like
That's all
that
you
is
do.
far from the truth. I actually am by myself more than not. You know what I mean? Even when I'm
Yeah.
partnered, I'm still by
Yeah.
myself, more than anything. So I think that's probably the funniest one. And even in that, sometimes I used to have like previous lovers or partners that assumed because I was a polyamorous woman that if they weren't showing up for me, somebody else was showing up for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it would inevitably create this situation where there were phases in my life where no one was showing up for me because they assumed somebody else had it.
Yep. He
So
got it.
those, yeah, he got it. Somebody got it, not knowing like I'm at home by myself eating honey
Yeah.
buns in the nudes.
That part. No, man, I think it is funny because I can relate to what you're saying, right? The the misconceptions around polyamory are wide and varied, and although I get that there are so many different ways to practice polyamory, I can understand why people have these misconceptions. Um, I am not a swinger like you. Not a swinger, not a swinger, not a swinger, not a swinger, not a swinger.
Not even a little bit.
Don't even like getting on swings at the park. They make me a little sick. It's a little
It's like
much.
I'm nauseous.
Whoa, get me up off of this. So it's too much. It's too chaotic. I'm sorry. I'm not the kind of person that's just gonna meet a person and be like, oh, she cute. Oh, he cute. let's all just romp
Oh,
around
let me. I want to put my
telepathically.
mouth on them. No, I don't. I don't want
No!
to put my mouth on you yet. I don't know you.
Oh, why is you here? Who sent you? First of all,
Um,
I got questions. But what I will say is, as a person who has, uh, hey, Jose, keep being you and you'll always be amazing. Thank you, Joshua, to WXYZ. I don't know who Joshua 2 is, but they're using my real name. Oh, Nobi! What's up? Oh, I love you. I love that guy. He's good people. Um, so what I realized is when I started getting more honest with the fact that I just wasn't a monogamous person, and I started connecting with people from the kink community, and I started seeing the ways that I was indeed a part of the kink community. Then I started connecting with people who were in the. Oh, you're not interrupting. You good? Thanks for engaging. We glad to have you here. No,
hey,
no, we just talking, Josh. We just chilling. It ain't this. This ain't. This was a spontaneous thing. We just celebrating polyamorous day. So
so we
I'm
just
gonna assume if you're
regular day.
here, you either a polyamorous or a poly ally. So either way, you welcome. You're not interrupting. You add too. He used to be. Josh used to actually be my manager.
Okay.
Um, yeah, we worked together before. He's my Syrian brother as well. I got a lot of love for that guy. A lot of love. Um, but what I was saying, he said he's a slut. Sluts are welcome. We are a
We
slut
love the sluts
safe
now. We love the
space.
sluts. We love the
We
sluts.
sluts are always welcome here.
We love a good slut
I
now.
tell people I'm a certified hussy. Certified, honey.
Certified. Certified.
Certified. Um, so one thing I've realized is people will think that because I have experience with kink communities and I have experience with a few different ethical non-monogamous and consensual practices,
hmm
they do assume that, I guess I'm just, a sex worker from the time I wake up until the time I go to bed. And it's like, actually, like you, most of my time is spent alone. I've been building a coaching business for over 3 years. So I'm in the middle of writing like 8 books because ADHD, God forbid you just finish one book and move on, right?
Oh, shit.
I'm creating coaching programs. I'm getting the business together. I'm now positioning myself to start selling my services to corporations and nonprofit organizations. And so, sometimes I'm writing workshops, sometimes I'm writing classes, getting curricula together, trying to bring all of this stuff in so that I can help Black people have better relationships. When would I even have time to be doing all that bouncing up and down and
When?
telepathic, telepathically
When am I going
connected?
to have time to do all this telepathic twerking?
Telepathic twerking. What? I'm
When
in
do
front of a
I have
computer most of the time.
when do I have time?
I'm so boring. It's not that sexy all the time. Rarely. At
If
this
I'm
point
not
in my life.
helping somebody, I don't have time.
What? What?
I don't have time.
Outside has started to turn me off more and more. At this age, I'm becoming more and more of a hermit. Girl, you can multitask. No, I can't. I'm already multitasking too much, Josh. My brain is chaotic. This this brain is spicy. It is chaos in here. Nothing but chaos lives here. I can't multitask any more than I already am, and I'm not doing great at it. I have a business coach. I have a marketing class I go to. A friend of mine got me using this cardology app to try to focus. I can't.
It's a
I
lot.
can't.
It's a
I
lot.
can't do it.
That's why I live. That's why I choose to stay occupied in my own space. Cause I realize, like, when I'm under the same roof with a person, I will get to multitasking. I will get to, I work too many. I work a lot of jobs. If I'm not working on those jobs, I'm working on my businesses. I'm also doing, kink and pleasure facilitations, which
Yeah.
require a lot of prep and travel sometimes and then things like that. So I will get to I accomplish one thing and be like, all right, let me suck your dick. I can't.
Yeah.
But I really, that's how I multitask. I'm gonna get it in. How I'm gonna get it in, but
I love that about you. I think younger me had the capacity. I used
hmm
to work like 3, 4 jobs and I was performing. You know what I mean? I'm singing and
yeah.
dancing and writing and work. I used to bartend, so I'm working like 3, 4 bartending jobs. I and had a pretty active social life. That was me in my 30s.
hmm
Me in my 40s, I cannot. What is the phrasing that he loves? I can't. I can't even. I don't have what it takes. I'm either I'm gonna drop some I'm gonna drop the ball, pause. One way or another, the ball's gonna be dropped, baby. And at this point in my life, it's probably gonna be you, sir, because I'm trying to run a business here, and I don't know how people can do it all. I couldn't have no kids, baby. They would be neglected. I'd be a deadbeat. I get it in how I could get it in.
that be me. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it how I'm gonna get it. That's why when women be like, I can't do no quickie, ma'am. I got shit to do. Come on now, come on, because that
Wrap
quickie,
it up.
we can make that quickie be the best motherfucking quickie ever in life. I have some of the best orgasms during the quickie. Some of the most soul snatch my soul in 15 minutes because I got a business meeting in
You
30.
need to teach a class on that because I don't have that. I am not efficient sexually. I'm not efficient. I can't just schedule it and get to getting. I don't have that skill. I don't have that talent. And right now, I don't even have the interest. It's too much. That's what I'm telling you. I'm a born again virgin. I'm trying to let everybody know.
Again, she's like, that thing is closed up.
No, don't closed up is harsh. No, come on now. The flower garden is still flourishing. I'm just saying, I'm going to use my creative energy for my business. And then maybe once the money is flowing the way I think it should, then I'll have a little bit more room
Leader mind, I get it. You know what I mean? The
for
money,
the telepathic connections.
for the telepathic twerks and works.
The twerks of telepathy.
Works and works of telepathy.
Telepathic. Ah,
Works. I be I, what? That's how I be keeping the juices going. I be here by myself. I've been unpartnered and haven't had sex with another person in 9 months. Before I go to bed, sometimes that urge for another person be up on me. And what do I be
yeah,
doing in the dark? I be backing it up like somebody is there.
yeah.
Like legitly, like it gets to
Hmm.
the point where I do it so much, I can create the presence
Oh, yeah.
of masculine energy without it being a specific person, but I can
Yes.
feel the energy cycling with me and behind me, and that'll do it to get me, where I need to be with myself. But I do that so much with myself that when the opportunities do come, if I choose them,
Stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
what what it is marination happening.
I love that so much. No, seriously, you could be teaching a class on this. All jokes
It
and
be
giggles
what they
aside.
be talking about tendernism. It is tendernism happening, waiting to fall off the bone, waiting.
Okay, okay. Uh, I'm gonna ask another question, and if it gets messy, it gets messy. What style of polyamory do you practice? Is the question, and then we'll talk about why that works for you.
uh, honestly, it's a hard. It's most people when they hear me speak, they be like, "So you solo poly?" And I be like, It's hard to pin it like that because I associate solo poly to be people that are unpartnered. You know what I mean? Like they have partners to a sense, but they
No.
or they consider themselves single, never
No.
partnered. Some, I don't know,
Mm-mm.
some solo poly people I have come across, that's kind of
Yeah.
how they look at it. When you say solo
Gotcha.
poly, they associate
Mm.
it to be like very singular. And I'm like, but I'm a very,
Gotcha.
like, when I'm partnered, I'm extremely, partnered and involved. Uh,
Mm.
but because I choose to live, by myself, I would consider myself to be, more solo poly or ethical non-monogamy, because I'm very
Yeah.
much, you know, transparent. If I have a partner, I like to be very transparent on what
Oh,
I'm
that's my
doing.
cousin just came on.
Hey,
Hey,
cousin.
say hi to my cousin Maya. She's getting her
Hey,
PhD
cousin.
right now, so she ain't really got time like that. But she gonna always pop her face in and say what's up.
Yeah. But yeah, so many people have so many different conceptions to what different levels of polyamory are. But I would say I lean more into the solo poly aspect of
Yeah.
it, and the ethical non-monogamy. Like, because I'm still, there are people that meet me sometimes and they be like, you so out the box, but then like there are aspects of how you approach relationships that sound monogamous, but you just have a different understanding about relationships in general, if that makes sense. And I'm like, I
And I,
don't.
I would translate it. I think what they're saying is you say poly, and I hear trashy, cheating, salacious bullshit.
Right.
But then you actually move like you have ethics, morals, and values. And I just don't understand it.
Exactly. It's exactly that. Exactly that. It's exactly that. Like we talked about before, they assume polyamory of any sort means I'm just out here free balling and free walling.
Whoa, walls. No
Like,
walls.
you know what
All
I'm saying? They
balls.
just assume a person is out here free balling and free walling, and that is not the case.
I
Not the case
think
at all.
I think that is hilarious. Also, Maya said right. I think I think so. What I've learned about solo polyamory, and this is the definition that sticks and I resonate with the most, is that no matter who you're partnered with, or if you're partnered with another person, you are always your primary partner.
Yes.
So that's how I define solo
That's how I
polyamory.
define it. Yeah.
Right? I am always going to be my best lover. I'm always going to be my best friend. I'm always going to prioritize myself above all.
Mm-hmm.
And so, whoever else outside of me that I decide to partner with, they do have to understand that there is a hierarchy and it's me.
It's me.
I'm at the top of the hierarchy.
Even when you're
What?
like, if I consider you my primary partner, you have to know that
Ooh,
there's
hold on.
still.
Josh says he's a slut, but he hasn't been with someone in over a year. Being sapiosexual, he gets turned off very easily. And what I know about Josh, I mean, I'm learning about Josh as a sexual being, which is kind of different because this is also my old boss. But hey, we all growing up. It's good. What I will say as a born again virgin to Josh is sapiosexuality, right? And that's a discussion that I've heard a lot of people. If you were to say this in a different space, some people would be coming for your head right now because the idea of sapiosexuality pisses a lot of people off. You're not going to get that from me, right?
Right. Me
What I
neither.
would say about Josh is that we're all adults. I don't know if I can agree. I am 45, but I don't know if I'm actually an adult. But I want to touch on Josh's point. Josh is extremely heady,
Mhm.
right? Extremely. He is like he's a whiskey expert. What he understands about the food and beverage industry is really like no other person I've ever talked to. And so working with him, uh, and really he is a collaborative leader. And you
Mhm.
don't meet, and he's a white man, you don't meet a lot of white men who are collaborative in their leadership style. So I give Josh a lot of props for that. Oh, you know what? I am way too born again of a virgin to be reading that kind of thing. Uh, Joshua, I'm gonna I'm gonna have to ask you to relax.
Relax your body, sir.
You, I'm sorry, I didn't even go to church today. That's too
Relax
much.
your body, sir.
This is not polyamory after dark. It actually is, but that wasn't the intent. What I will say,
He say, look, Josh say, since y'all talking
he
about
said
it,
it is after dark. God damn it, it's
he
11.
say, since y'all talking about it, let me sit up then.
It got really grown. Look, what I would say is he's very now I'm scared to say anything intellectual. He's an extremely intellectual person. So this makes sense that he would identify as sapio. And although I can be intellectual, and the community you and I come from, we would refer to that as the crown choice, right?
Very, very
And there
much.
are people who I have had that crown choice dynamic with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's not enough. That'll stimulate me for so long. But if there's not an emotional uh, connection to hold it together, baby, I could tell you quick. You can. This
It's
ain't
not
finna
gonna last.
last.
You'll
Not for
be
me.
in my life because I'm that person that will figure out a way for you to be in my
Yeah.
life. It's beneficial, and if we don't, I try my best not to transition dynamics in a negative. So
Yeah.
you still have the opportunity or capability to be in my life, but
Yeah.
that initial attraction from the sapiosexual side, like you said,
Yeah.
if there's nothing else in combination with it, I will get
Yeah.
bored. I will get bored.
Joe, Josh is asking about what a crown choice is. You wanna hit that one?
Oh man, a crown choice. It's a beautiful thing.
It is. It is.
um, man, for me, from my experiences of the people that I have had chosen in my past as a crown choice, it's just like the conversations, the way in which you can intellectually battle in a way, and not in a negative.
Mm,
Just they have a level of capacity for your intellect, and for
yeah.
me to be a person that's very heady and to know a lot about a lot, I need to be able to mentally spar with a person about it
Mm,
at any time. And
yeah.
also in that, I like to learn things, and so a lot of times the crown choices that I chose, they could handle the level of things that I knew, but they
Yeah.
also could add more into that. They could teach me things and show me
Hmm.
things and guide me into amplifying my knowledge. Like if you can help me or guide me
Yeah.
to amplify what I already know
Let's
in a
go.
way, like it's gonna go down. It's gonna go down.
I would add to what she's saying. So, Josh, Joe, I don't know if you're around when we talked about how we met. We both uh, met in a community that teaches people how to ethically maneuver through polyamorous relationships, but also they had a metaphysical school that they
Mhm.
ran. And so we got a chance to kind of benefit from both sides of the two businesses that they were running.
Right.
And how is that seen as a bad thing? Oh, okay. No, no, no. First of all, let's finish the crown choice conversation and then we'll get into why people don't like sapiosexuality. Two different things. So, and the crown choice is a beautiful thing. It's not a
Beautiful.
no. So what they teach at the Progressive Love Academy is that there are five choices. They call it the feminine choice paradigm. And it's brilliant. It's changed my life. It's changed how I look at every single relationship I have, romantic or not.
Hmm.
It's just to me, it's such a sophisticated system for understanding how people connect. I love you too, cuz. Oh, no problem. Thanks for popping in. I appreciate you. Um, so say bye to my cousin, Joe.
Bye, cousin.
she, she going to get her PhD. Um, but so the crown choice dynamic, it's this understanding that everybody has a masculine side and a feminine side, which most of us agree on, right? Yin yang. So everybody's feminine side is choosing who they're going to connect with, whether it's romantic or whatever, there's an attraction there. And the feminine side is choosing the masculine counterpart for different reasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the crown choice dynamic, and Joe does a lot of chakra work. So the crown choice dynamic is really, it's what happens when the third eye part of you is attracted to the crown chakra
Mm-hmm.
part of someone else. So
Correct.
when your third eye, the visionary, is seeing the energetic of that strong crown chakra, and you say, "Ooh, I want some more of that. I'm leaning in."
Yep.
That is called the crown choice. And this is where people connect who are erect. This is where people connect who are intellectually stimulated by each other. There is a very spiritual connection that often happens. It can lend to intellectual sparring, debates, because this is all about growing and
Mm-hmm.
expanding in knowledge, expanding in how do you bring this esoteric or unseen knowledge into the physical plane. And it's lovely. We actually love crown choices.
Love them.
I've chosen a lot of people in that manner,
Yeah.
friends and more, right? Not even just romantically, right? A lot of my friends are crown choices. I
Yeah.
am so impressed at the scholarly aptitude of my friends. I'm just always like, everybody around me is just brilliant. This is craziness.
Geniuses.
And so that's the crown choice. Sapiosexuality, though, why does it get a bad rap? Because one, white supremacy. Uh, what happens is a lot of times we judge intellect based on what white males think intellect is. So whatever white men think is smart, the whole world is supposed to just acquiesce. And if you don't, or if you don't fit into their very limited category of what smart is, then you're not seen as smart. So oftentimes, sapiosexuality is really just white supremacy and elitism in a different wig. And
Mm-hmm.
so a lot of people are challenging this idea because it's like, well, what are you basing your ideas around intellect on? You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And is it ableist? Is it racist? Is it misogynistic? Or are you really just saying that I connect with people whose intellect complements mine?
Right.
And so those are kind of the discussions and the debates happening around sapiosexuality. You can tell a lot about a person by who they surround themselves with. I mean, people suck. And sometimes they suck efficiently and quickly in the middle of doing the work they're doing, as our sister Joe the Creatrix brought up earlier.
Facts. Don't suck. You're gonna suck so bad.
If it counts, I'm mostly Irish. I love how white people try to get away from their whiteness. They be like, I'm not like them white people, baby. I'm
They be
Jewish.
like,
I'm
wait
not
a
that
minute.
type of
They be
white.
like,
I'm
I'm a
Italian.
ginger. I'm a redhead. I'm not.
I can't. Or the people that be like, I'm a non-practicing white person. You can't unpractice your whiteness, sweetie. But I love it. I love me some Josh. He's so silly. Um,
That is
but
hilarious.
yeah, solo poly. Back to what you were saying with
Yeah.
solo polyamory, though. Speaking of
Yes.
white supremacy, want to know why England has shitty food? Tell us about that while I talk about solo polyamory, then I'll come back. Um, so I would say at this point in my life, I would identify as somewhere between a solo polyamorist and a relationship anarchist,
I can see that.
right? Whatever the intersection is of those two, I think that's me.
I can see
And I
that.
think, thank you for seeing me. And also based on how you see me, I am a classy cunt.
That's what's in between there. That's what's in between those two.
I, I, you were the first person to ever say that about me, and that tickled me pink. Um, that tickled me so pink. But I think, you know, there's a part of me who really open relating definitely appeals to me. right? I don't like a lot of rules. I do like for us to set objectives. And I do like for if I'm going to partner with somebody, let's have a meeting of the minds and the hearts and the spirits. Let's see what we both value, what we can agree on, how we're going to move based on these values. What are the protocols that we're going to set for our particular relationship? And we learned a lot of that at the Progressive Love Academy, right?
Right.
The form and function
Yes.
of
Yeah.
different relationships. And so what I've been really working on at this point is, am I keeping you up? You hear my uncle calling me Lil Gose and I'm almost 50. I love it so much.
Um,
Uh, I love that the most. Um, but what I really have learned is, God, where did I leave off? That squirrel came and got my brain.
he
We're
got
talking
me
about solo poly, and we're talking about relationship anarchy,
the
and we're
function.
talking about the form and function of relationships. So I like to come together and find what can we agree upon for this partnership, and together we create something for us,
Mm-hmm.
and we keep to those agreements. I am not a person that believes in a one size fits all way to relating with people, and that's my friends, that's my family, that's everybody. um I just like to know what are we agreeing on, and then I'm the kind of person that likes to just stay within that thing, and if we need to adjust our agreements, let's sit and talk about that too.
Mm-hmm.
What But the relationship anarchist in me, and the person who really likes open relating, she feels like, man, fuck all that. I see you when I see you. I love you. What's the big deal? Like, right? And so she's really out there and over there. But then there's this other part of me who's like, no, I love everybody, and I want us all to make this work. It's just that I have to be number one in my life. Don't you understand that? And trying to find a way to kind of bring these almost opposing parts of me together. And
Right.
I really am community and village minded, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it is challenging because I'm just like, what? It all makes sense to me.
Right. It all makes sense. Like why everybody just can't being where they at in their spaces.
Josh says he is white as fuck. And he says England went around and took all the spices and herbs and ate it all up until the immigrants went to England and they brought their own spices and herbs. And the royals saw the people of color as less, and spices were associated with them, and they couldn't be seen eating the same food, so they cooked with none of them. Racism is why London has shit food, and I think it's hilarious. Did all that raping and pillaging for spices and won't use them for shit.
At all. Wasted their whole time.
Oh, what's up, Yas Inc? Oh, that's Yaya. Hey, hey, hey.
Hey.
Um, we're just discussing polyamory. It's National Polyamory Day, and we are celebrating it. So I assume if you are here, you are either polyamorous or you're an ally. So welcome. Yo, baby, yo, baby, yo. Yaya and I went to high school together.
Okay, okay.
Um,
But no, I do
so
thinking
yeah.
about what you're saying. I do understand. Like I said, I to be to be a person who's primarily solo poly, um,
Hmm.
but I still do have. There's an aspect of me that it leans towards the open related aspect. Like you said, sometimes I am like, man, we'll talk when we talk. I see you when I see you. Like there's a part of me that's like that, but
Yeah.
the natural side of me that is into structure and order probably the
Yeah.
other line of me being into structure and order. Like there has to be some level of agreement in these relationships, you know what I mean? And I'm also not big on like the relationships merging. Like I like my
Hmm.
relationships to have their own individual essence, you know what I mean? I want each of my partners, lovers, whoever they may be, to feel a certain level of exclusivity with me,
So no
you know.
kitchen table for you.
I've never really cared
Yeah.
for it. Now
Oh,
can
yeah. We
I
don't all got to hold hands at the barbecue.
yes. Now can I have
Got it.
I because people have asked me, people who have prospective partners have asked how I feel about kitchen poly. I'm like, if that's what you enjoy, I'm not keeping
Hmm.
it from you. And even if I happen to be in the same environment, I don't mind being in a space with you and your other partner. But do I want to, if I'm coming to visit for a week, do I want to spend that whole week in the house with y'all? I don't.
Pooey.
I don't want to
Patooey.
spend the whole week in the house with you.
With
Like,
you.
if I'm visiting
With
somewhere for a week, I
you.
want to go do things by myself still.
Yeah.
So, there's that. But I'm that's why I love the fact that we were in PLA and everything, because it did open my eyes to the fact that, like, when it comes to the type of relationship that I desire and want, I can create that however I want to fucking create it. You know what I mean? Like, if ain't
Yeah.
no formula for what I want, I got the magic to make the goddamn formula.
That part. I love what you were saying about not needing kitchen table poly. And I don't know if that language, if everybody's familiar with that kind of language. Kitchen table poly is this it's this idea that imagine everybody in your what they call polycule, you, your partner, and their partners, and everybody's sitting at the same kitchen table. Everybody's living together. Everybody's in community together. We're all friends and we're all just building. That is kitchen table poly. And some people, that is the way they do polyamory. That is what they aspire to. Uh, I like it in theory, but I absolutely don't like it in practice. I haven't seen it practiced well. I have not seen it practiced in a healthy way. I'm not saying it doesn't work
Yeah.
that way, but every time I've seen it, it's just been a whole lot of fuckery, just fuckery. Um, and in polyamory in general, if I have a partner and they have a partner, their partner is now considered my metamor.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you, from what I know of you, Joe, you would make a great metamor.
Yeah.
You're so cool, you're so laid back, you're so easy and accepting of people. And I think I would make a phenomenal metamor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what we not finna do is all pile into chaos
Right.
and call it love.
Right.
I can't sign up for chaos and disorder.
Yeah. No.
And I've seen some kitchen table polyamorous who I have attempted to partner with. And
Mm-hmm.
when I started looking at what they had going on, I said, this is madness. I've only been here for 10 minutes and I want to get into a fist fight with y'all. I don't know how y'all doing this every day. Get me the fuck out of here.
Right. Like,
But
this is
I
crazy.
can't.
Crazy. But no, yeah, metamor is definitely, like, I've been a metamor before. Um, and I enjoy it because, like you
Hmm.
said, I'm a very cool person. I love
Hmm.
connection. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And having a lot of androgynous energy. Um,
Hmm.
I'm very good at connecting with not just the masculine, but and the feminine in a certain
Yeah.
way. Um, so I have been in partnerships where I was the metamor that, me, shoot, a husband and a wife and me, we had a group chat together, and then I had a chat with just me and the wife so we could talk
Yeah.
whenever we needed to. And if she needed to just speak to me from a sisterhood standpoint, she could. And then I also had, a chat with just me and the husband when he would need
Hmm.
to talk to me. But we kept that line of communication open as far as us all three being able to speak to each other when we desired to. But I also
Mm.
made a point to make sure I was building a connection with the other partner as well. And then, like you said, I can build a relationship with another
Hmm.
partner all day or a metamor all day. But do I feel like it's necessary for us to be in the same household all the time? I don't. But if I'm ever in town and she want to go shopping together or go do something together, because I do realize it, because of being in PLA and things like that, sisterhood is very important, just as much
Hmm.
as the actual partnership is too. So I
Yeah.
try my best to nurture both aspects in an
Yeah.
individual way, and that has been beneficial for me when it comes to being with somebody who already has a partner or partners.
You know what? I love that you brought that up because I have I have had different experiences with that. I've had metamors who I never met.
Mm-hmm.
Never met them and didn't give a fuck if I met them or not. You didn't have nothing to do. Oh, Naomi, they didn't have nothing to do with me. I'm
Mm-hmm.
with this person, and whatever this person has going on outside of me just really wasn't my business, and I was okay with that. They could talk to me about their people, but if they didn't see the need to introduce me, I didn't feel the hey girl. I didn't feel the need to care. We're celebrating National Polyamory Day, Naomi. Um,
Hey.
so there I've had that experience. I've had the experience where I've actually maybe I was already friends with the metamor, and then we ended up kind of partnering with the same person or people in the same community, and that kind of deepened the friendship. Um,
I've definitely
I've
had that
had
one.
right where it's like, well, we all over here, girl. I came with you. I'm leaving with you, regardless of what happens over here.
Oh, we mess around, have a conversation, and be like, "Oh, girl, you too."
That's it. Um, And so I think the metamor thing, it works differently depending on who you are and how you connect with the metamor. Because
Yeah.
every metamor is not going to be your friend. Every metamor is not going to fit into your perfect little kitchen table
Right.
deal. He
Mm-hmm.
says, oh, Josh got a squirrel moment happening. And so I think that for me, at this point in my life, I feel like you feel. I'm okay if there's a metamor. I actually
Mm-hmm.
prefer to date partners who are already partnered.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer that.
Yeah.
I because I like to study people before I date them.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to know that I like to see how you are in partnership
Right.
before I decide if I want to get involved. And if I see nothing but chaos and fuckery coming from you and your partnership, that tells me a lot. Because, baby, what the fuck I want to be over there for? You don't even got that shit in order. You're
Right.
not happy with your wife? The wife, get off the phone with me, bitch. Like,
I'm
how come you don't
concerned.
know what to do with your wife?
I'm
Don't come
concerned.
complaining to me about your wife. Figure out what the fuck to do with you. Do you need to hire me as a coach? Okay, because if you want me to coach you and your wife, I got you. But I'm
Right.
not going to be partnered with any foolishness.
Right. And I'm not the person that is trying to take somebody's position. That kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier about how people seek that certain level of partnership or romance, and say somebody does come around. That's why some metamors, they don't want to meet the other metamor. You know what I mean? This looks like somebody coming in to replace them in a sense. But I'm the person that's like, I don't want your position. I'm not even looking at your
Especially,
position like that. I don't want your position.
can we even talk about this? How many times, as a polyamorous woman, an openly polyamorous woman, have you walked into a situation where there's a woman who dislikes you because she thinks you want her dusty ass, abusive, trashy ass man? He don't treat her worth a shit, and you just happen to be walking around and now you catching strays
Just
because
for
her
this.
despicable excuse for a partner is looking in your direction. Bitch, I don't want him. I don't want you. I don't want no parts of none of this shit. I was just walking by.
Right.
Like, because
That's
my
it.
thing is, if you ain't treating your wife right, get the fuck out of my face. Well, I
Right.
want to be with a man whose wife ain't even happy with him. You not happy with her, she's not happy with you, and you smiling in my face for what? I'm finna embarrass all of y'all.
Everybody.
Get out of here.
But unfortunately, so many people want to be chosen that
Mm.
will entertain that man who, you can, like you said, you can see that whatever's going on with him and that particular partner is not going right. But because people want to be chosen so bad, they will look past what they see happening with another person and still choose to engage with that person, and then look surprised when they get treated, in that
When you
similar
get your head knocked between the washer and the wall.
right.
Josh
But you've
has a lot
seen
to say.
him.
Okay, Josh is talking about the English and why the English suck and the Irish ain't like the English. privilege, knowing that the English are the fuckers. We get it. English sucks. Fuck England. Yeah, agreed. How tolling is it on you to go from potential partner to potential coach on you? You know, at this point in life, I I'm not actively looking to date anyone. So when I meet people and there's attraction, I'm open to exploring the attraction, but it's a long process for me to choose to date people. Like I date my friends and I typically date people I've known for a long time because I've been able to observe you over the years, season after season after season. So I'm not really, I've never been on a dating app in my life. I'm not usually just meeting people out and about and saying, "Ooh, let's do a thing." I've done that a couple of times, and it just doesn't fit. Because again, demisexual here. I mean, how do I get a chance to really build with you and I don't even know you? There's no safety.
Right.
So to answer your question, Josh, potential partner to potential client, I guess is what you're trying to say. Is uh, I don't my vetting process for polyamorous people, especially partnered people, part of my vetting process is to see, I need to be able to observe you in your partnerships over time and really a long time. This is where I'm kind of traditional. I'm
Mhm.
very old school in needing a lot of time to observe. I need to be able to study it. It needs to make sense to me. I actually want to see a person go through a few breakups. I want to see how they handle it. I want to
I know
see how they
what it
handle
looks
the
like. You
friends, their
pissed off.
community. Yeah, I want to see it all. What's it like when depression hits? What's it like when you get angry? What's it like when somebody in your family dies? I want to watch it because before I want to start intermingling and telepathically twerking up on you, I need to make sure that this ain't finna ruin my life.
Right, right.
So
And
it gets easy to see if somebody should be a client or a partner
yeah, and
for
I was gonna.
me.
I think that's the beauty of living a non-traditional relationship style is that, like, when I was monogamous, because like you said, the whole putting your eggs in one basket. Like when you monogamous, you're looking for that one person, that one person, that one person,
Yeah.
and so sometimes you don't necessarily take the time to just get to know them and
Hmm.
observe them in their elements and how they're choosing to navigate life because you're so focused on doing whatever you need to do
Yeah.
to get to the point of being in a relationship. But as a
Hmm.
polyamorous woman, and I've always been, like you said, more traditional, but as a polyamorous woman, even more like
Yeah.
I just
Even
my
more.
time in courtship and dating because I'm not looking for one particular person. I'm looking
Exactly.
for alignment, and alignment for me is not down to one person.
Yes.
So I don't have to rush to
Don't
get
gotta
to the point of
rush.
exclusivity with you. We can court and date for quite some time before
Let
we
me
even get
read.
to that point.
Let me read what's being said in the chat. Speaking as a woman all the time. Sorry, just trying to provide levity. Oh, he's so silly. Is this a safety mechanism? Absolutely. I think properly vetting the people in your life is a safety mechanism. I teach as a coach that relationships are a matter of life and death,
Hmm.
and specifically for women.
Hmm.
Right? Like not to say that they don't that a toxic relationship doesn't harm men. They absolutely do. But if we're talking about life and death, and we'll the number one cause of death for pregnant women is it's intimate partner violence.
Hmm.
The number one cause of death for pregnant women. If we look at black women, and I want to say this was like 2018, 2017, 2018, I did a workshop on this, and I think like the number six cause of death for Black women between the ages of 18 and 44 was intimate partner violence. So I think it's really important that women specifically, especially uh, Black women and other marginalized women, that we are so careful how we date, especially for those of us who are choosing to date cis hetero males. Because when we're not careful, and you haven't taken the proper time to study a person and see how they handle different emotions, different life stresses, grief, what you're doing, because anytime you get in a romantic partnership with someone, what you're doing is you're bringing your inner child trauma, they're bringing their inner child trauma, and however much work you two have done on that, you're just bringing it together. And the second the waves hit and will,
Yeah.
right? Wherever you are in your inner child development and inner child healing is going to meet them wherever they are in their inner child development and healing. And if that shit is crazy, you're finna get your shit rocked. And sometimes it can look like emotional damage, right? Other times, though, it could literally be a matter of life and death. So I'm absolutely concerned about my safety, my self-preservation. I don't have a need to rush in anything. And even when I was not openly polyamorous and I was living a more traditional Christian Black girl life, I still like to study people. I never like jumping into no partnerships. I needed to know. Because
Yeah.
let's say I was just going to be with the one, right? Back in the day, let's say I was, because I was with a good church boy when I was in church. We were together for 2 years. I was on track to marry him and do all the traditional things. I thought I was going to have kids, all of that, right?
Hmm.
Let's say I was going to be with the one. I knew for a fact that if I was going to be with him forever, then why rush forever? What is the fucking rush? If you're gonna be my husband, if you're gonna be my life partner, if we don't believe in divorce, then that's all the more reason to slow that shit the fuck down. Pump your fucking brakes.
Why are we rushing? I was the longest relationship I had. Me and that young man were best friends for 6 years before we actually got in a relationship. You know what I mean? And like you said, I watched him go through some relationships. He watched me go through some relationships. My
Yeah,
most previous partner, we were on and off as partners. Our dynamic, transitioned and rekindled and reignited for 16 years. You
that
know,
part.
we watched ourselves evolve and grow. We sometimes took the time to back the fuck away from each other to go have whatever experience we needed to have to evolve into the next version of ourselves. And sometimes we needed to do that to come back, you know what I mean, to each other in a different, light or a different version of ourselves. Sometimes it's
That
necessary.
part.
And that
Let's
was
go
even
back to
back
the
before I understood that there was even, other types of relationships.
yes, agreed. I'm trying to keep up with the chat and with you. I'm not necessarily the best. This is why I be liking having a moderator in the room. So Naomi says, I feel like I'm doing that now with a crush, just observing for now. Is wisdom in the room? Is wisdom in the room? Amen.
Very,
Josh
very.
says it's smart. I commend you for it. Now, NYO. I don't know what NYO means. I might be too old for that. What is NYO? What's the risk slash benefit for you if this crushed person ends up solo with someone else? Oh, that ain't no risk to me. I mean,
At all.
I don't own
Crush is a
nobody.
crush.
Live your life.
A
Live
crush.
your life.
It's not
You know how many?
a crush. Don't mean anything is definitive. In my mind, having a crush on somebody does not mean anything has been defined. But I do understand a lot of people, they get a crush on
Yeah,
somebody and they romanticize a relationship with a
yeah.
person that doesn't exist. So if that crush does happen to go be with somebody, if you romanticize an imaginary relationship, then you might feel away. But for me, a crush is a crush.
A crush is a crush, and I crush on everybody.
What?
I mean, not everybody, but I have a lot of crushes. I crush easily.
And
I
I'm hell of a flirt, so you know this about me.
period. I
I'm
mean,
what man or
I
woman. I'm a flirt. I mean, how many times did y'all used to be like, Joe, why you getting so mannish?
mean, I mean, what am I supposed to do?
That's what I'm
And
supposed to do. She walking around without that cake. Not supposed
I've
to do.
actually had crushes who I liked, and because I didn't verbalize how I felt about them, I was observing as I do. And they started coming to me about other people and getting advice from me. I've gotten crushes married. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I have literally gotten crushes married because I was crushing on them and taking my time, and then yo, Gose, you know what? I like her. What do you think about this, that, and the other? And I've had to talk them literally to the offer. I mean, to the altar.
Hmm.
So it's nothing to me. Love is love.
I think
One.
that goes,
Have you
you know,
heard? Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that goes into the fact that like we grew up choosing to have a lot of homeboys and male friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think now as adults, by on what our IDs say, as adults, we're really good at still being those friends to,
Mm,
even if we do got a crush on them. Because like you said, I'm similar. There are plenty of people that I may have some type of crush on or attraction to, but because of
yeah.
the level of knowledge that I have and their admiration for me, I'm one of the first people they think about coming to for understanding
Mm,
of women. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
it becomes a thing where, like you said, I may be helping them with a relationship. I may be helping them not get a goddamn divorce, and I ain't even necessarily trying to. It's just they admire or trust what I have to say and my understanding of things.
Oh, okay. I get what's happening now. Nio is him talking to Naomi. So
Mm.
now he was asking that question to Naomi. Naomi answered, "That's fine. If it's meant to be, it will be." So this is helpful. Now I'm catching up. Josh made a funny face. Then he said, "That's a fair and logical look. Thank you for answering." Oh, y'all better engage in the chat. Absolutely, Jose. That's the main reason to take your time with people. Josh says, "Wow," and then he says, "Squirrel." The first part of her screen name. Got it. I'm catching up late. It's been giving Crush dating advice as he is. I've been giving Crush dating advice as he is newly divorced. He now has 3 people he's dating. Okay. So crushing that leads to romanticizing as the romanticized. How do I subtly break that cycle? Can you ask that question differently, Josh, so I can understand it better? I also wanted to bring up a polyamorous term since we are celebrating National Polyamory Day. Compersion. Compersion. That is a word that was coined in polyamory communities, as far as I know.
Yes.
Um, wow was to Joe's response during, oh, nice. And he's going to re-ask his question. Joe, how would you define compersion? That's not on my list of questions.
Comparative for me, I mean, it's like I do so many things in the non traditional sense. It's just so beautiful to me. So compersion is a very beautiful thing to me. Um,
Hmm.
for me, compersion is having a certain level of joy watching
Hmm.
my partners in their partnership or in their just navigation of relationships.
Hmm.
Um, being able to sit across from my partner and then tell me about them liking somebody. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, oh, really? Well, what does she look like? Oh, y'all went on a
Hmm.
date ago, or you met
Hmm.
somebody today that you find yourself becoming attracted to. Like, so what does that look like for you? What does that feel like? And me actually being, like I said, very joyful to be able to hear this. Like, it tickles my soul, and not in a negative way. I enjoy it a lot. I enjoy to watch my partner, lovers,
Yeah.
navigate relationship, and also I enjoy that they are comfortable expressing things, to me. Um, so yeah, compersion for me is just having a certain level of joy watching my
Yeah.
partner, love interest, navigate their other, partnership.
Yes, I realize I've always had compersion, and that's what's been a thing. And I'm going to ask you this question in a second, like, what is, I forgot what's in here. I had it somewhere in here. But anyway, it's about what we're celebrating. We'll talk about what we're celebrating about ourselves in a second. Compersion was always a part of me. I always naturally just felt like if someone I love is happy, I am already happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's just the empathic part of me. Um, if someone I love is experiencing joy, then I am already feeling joy. Just like if somebody I love is going through something terrible, if you start crying, baby, I'm finna start crying with you. I mean, I almost can't even help it,
But and I know it.
right? Right? And
It is-
so for me, um, I have always believed in. Remember, Mace had a song back in the late '90s, and he was like, "I want to see you happy, even if it's not with me."
Mm-hmm.
I always felt that when he said that shit. I was a teenager, and I was like, "Hell yeah!" Because to me, if I really love you, I don't want to control you. If I
Right.
really love you, I want you to experience your highest, most elevated, most pleasurable life.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm in the way of that, get me the fuck out of there. Like I don't own you. I'm not into trying to possess or objectify you. And so compersion always made sense to me. It always so when I got introduced to the language in the polyamory community, and not to say that I don't experience jealousy or envy, because I absolutely do. I'm a human fucking being.
Mm-hmm.
But my uncomfortable emotions do not take precedence over my ability to love you and want you to have the best experience
Right.
possible.
Right.
So I wanted to touch on that because some of the things Josh was asking about, and then what you were talking about, Joe, I think being compersive people, and everybody's not compersive, and everybody doesn't have compersion, and all polyamorous people don't even see the importance of compersion.
Mm-hmm.
But I do.
Right. Right.
Josh is still talking here. He says he often comes in contact with a young lady who's clearly into him. He is not into her. Oh, once asked her if I told her about Ivy, and she took a deep breath, and I said, "My dog poisoned Ivy, the little shit monster." And she had a visual deep sigh. "About your dog?" She wants me. I don't want to be with her. How do I navigate a person who has romantically attached themselves to me with respect? Oh, Josh.
Only thing I can,
Josh.
because there's plenty of times in magnetism where people are romantically attracted or want me. I don't want them, and you just really got to stand on that boundary. Like, just because a person is romantically interested in you and pursuing you does not mean you have to reciprocate that.
Yeah.
it And you don't even got to be nice about it. You might just be being too nice. You don't got to be nice about that. That's how I feel about it. Well, that might be the leader mind. You don't got to do that. You don't got to fuck with that. You don't want to.
Josh Josh has hot boy problems. If he was a woman, I say he had bad bitch problems. But however you identify, I don't know if you're a hot boy or a bad bitch, Josh, but
Yeah, like
it's it's the problems that come when you are a very attractive person and people just they find themselves attracted, and some people can't be attracted without being attached.
it happens.
And it ain't got shit to do with you.
It don't.
He said, "Girl, stop."
It
No, I mean, you don't owe her anything. She can like you all day. And what they got, I mean, you can't even talk to her about your dog. So this sounds like she already turned you off. It sounds like, if I read it properly, she had you fucked up when you couldn't talk about your dog with her.
The moment she saw it about that dog is the day she had you all the way fucked up.
Girl, get the fuck on.
Get the fuck on from my dog bites you, bitch.
It's 2025. I
Yeah,
think we should understand that when people have dogs, those are their children. So if you're not ready to be a stepmother, get the fuck off.
right. Oh, don't
We too grown. We too grown.
be too grown on the side about my dog, man. Get away.
Ivy was a woman in the mind until I mentioned it was a dog. Oh, so she thought Ivy was a woman, that she was fighting for your affections
Mm,
against Ivy? Is that what we're saying?
so she thought you was trying to talk to her about another woman.
He was like, "Shut the entire fuck up about Ivy. That bitch ain't shit." I have two dogs. They're way more important. Yes. Okay. Got you. And so you want to get rid of her, right? That's the question. Or do you want to be friends with her, or do you just want her to like get the fuck on? What's the desired outcome? Now we having a moment of silence for him to tell us about his dog
But
and this woman and the woman who just really she ain't the one.
ain't wasting your time on this woman. Right.
But I do think that that's like one of the important parts of polyamory, right? When we're trying to find people that share our values, it is important for you to know, and I tell people this all the time. You need to understand, first of all, who you are,
Mhm.
what your ethics, morals, and values are, what your standards are, what your non-negotiables are, and what your negotiables are. And I
Mhm.
think if more of us took time to come ready with
Yeah.
that information, then it would be easier to vet people because then you could say, okay, where do we share in agreement? And then if my non-negotiables are not in alignment with what you're bringing to the table, hey, thank you so much for your time. I can release you with grace and gratitude. Pleasure to meet you. This just ain't gonna work for me.
Right.
I think, that's so even though we're laughing about the dog, that's real though. If you're a dog lover and you got two of them and they're a part of your family, you know what I mean? And now you got a woman who's jealous. She's already showing you parts of her that how she behaves in jealousy and insecurity, and you're already kind of like, I don't like that, right? And then you got your dogs, and she ain't really vibing in a way that she should, and you're going, I don't want to partner with that. To me, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Because I mean, even if she initially thought that Ivy was a woman, not dogs, you she's still showing a certain level of, like you said, jealousy and attachment. Which means even if y'all were to get together, them dogs mean more to you than anything. So like, she still would be trying to compete for your attention over these dogs, even if she
Yeah, because she's a crush. She's crushing on him. He ain't made no commitments to her. Bitch, who is you even talking to right now? How on earth are you getting out of your body
right.
about another bitch when you're not even a bitch in question? Like,
Right. Whether the
relax.
is a dog or
Relax.
human, like, but how's you in your feels? How's you in your feels about that? We ain't even solidified nothing.
Naomi laughing at us. To navigate a path where she's not embarrassed and we can be in the same room. Oh, okay, Josh. Uh, oh, that part, Joe. He's feeling what you're saying. Um, you can't control if she's embarrassed.
Yeah, you can't do nothing about that.
Yeah, it sounds like you trying to take on too much responsibility.
Cause her feelings towards you, those are not your responsibility. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-mm.
your only responsibility is to be solid within yourself and to move in integrity.
Yeah,
Like, you don't gotta embarrass the girl, but there's nothing you can do to avoid that.
yeah,
Like, if she wants something with you, but you don't want that, she gonna feel some type of way regardless, no matter how
yeah,
soft you
yeah.
approach
You
it.
can be gentle. You can be gracious,
Yeah, you
but
can be
but I
gentle.
still say rip that band-aid off.
Yeah, because even that you can be the most gentle and most gracious that you can be, she's still going to have to process how that makes her feel anyway. It don't matter.
Uh-oh, he finna overshare. Okay, we'll, we'll be with you. I'm gonna ask Joe another question while you over there oversharing. Um, this is good. Uh, what's a skill polyamory taught you that made your life better beyond romance? Yeah, yeah, you have permission to start your oversharing. We just checking in with Joe while you're typing.
A
And
skill.
Naomi, feel free to jump in if you got something to say. Naomi, I'll bring you
Yeah,
on live if you want to. If you want,
come on
you can get up in here.
live. Yeah, you get sweats. We really gonna be in here. But
Yep, because we are celebrating National Polyamory Day here on live. This was a spontaneous meeting of the minds, hearts, and spirits between me, the Black Love Permissionist, and my girl Joe, the Creatrix. Please answer the question: what's a skill polyamory taught you that made your life better beyond romance?
honestly, like, I've always been good at, like, listening to what people say, but like legitly holding space in a systematic way You know what I mean? Like that's been a thing for me. Like the skill of being able to hold space. Because it's one thing to hold space for one person. When you monogamous, like, oh, it's one person. Oh, you got some feelings. I can focus on that. I can hold space for you. But when you're navigating holding space for multiple people while also trying to hold space for yourself, um, that can become a lot. So the skill of being able to hold space in a way that is beneficial for everybody involved. Being able to actively listen and respond, um, being able to process, help process my own thoughts and feelings, like you said, outside of the romantic. But that yeah, that ability to hold space for others and myself and process what I'm feeling, when I'm feeling. Because
Ooh.
like you said earlier, like people think when you're positive that like you don't feel certain things. They think that I don't get mad, get jealousy, envy, or any of these things, and it's like, well, no, all of those things are just as natural as compersion and joy and all these other things. It's just a matter of how you process them. You know what I mean? Like I have learned how to process emotions that people deem negative and have gratitude for them when I used to not be able to do that because I didn't even know that that was a possibility.
Gems are being dropped. Again, we are celebrating National Polyamory Day. We are two Black polyamorous women, and we just flowing. We just we just flowing with the poly conversation. I think what you brought up is beautiful because I think sometimes when people hear polyamory and they're looking at it through a monogamous uh, lens, they automatically think that polyamory means that you're getting less love, less commitment, less maturity. You're getting scarcity. You're getting a short end of a stick. But what I'm hearing from you is polyamory has given you deeper empathy,
Mm-hmm.
deeper relational skills. It's given you an increase in your relational IQ,
Yes.
and it's really made you stronger. And that's not just in romance, that's also in all of your relationships. And I
Yeah.
think, sometimes what I think people miss when they don't understand polyamory is, we are all developing our relational skills every day.
Mm-hmm.
If you choose to be in a relationship with somebody, you are choosing to grow. And if you're choosing not to grow, then you're choosing to be in a position where they're probably going to outgrow you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are saying, I'm going to be in relationship with somebody, whether it's romantic, whether it's a friendship, you are signing up for the growth package. That is how it works. That is what we believe, what we have been taught and learned, and I would say we accept is the purpose is growth.
Yeah.
The benefit is love, but the purpose is growth.
Always.
So if you show up to a relationship and you try to get uh, to the perks without understanding the purpose, that relationship is not going to be sustainable, right? So what I love about Joe, and I know this to be true because I know you personally, you
Mm-hmm.
are a person who is committed to growth.
Yes.
I've seen it in your life. It's not just something you're talking about, right? You live it. And it's so good for my heart to know other people who are living at that level of accountability like I am. And so what I would say if I were to piggyback onto your answer, if I was to, ask what skill has polyamory taught me, um, I would say what has polyamory taught me that's made my life better beyond romance is, I would say for me, it's been more, hmm, I don't like the word multitasking because I don't think I'm good at it. I think it's learning how to prioritize relationships better, how to prioritize myself better in relationships. Um, it's easy for me because of how I was raised to be in codependent relationships or to be enmeshed in relationships. So learning how to have a strong sense of self, that's something that polyamory has been teaching me, which helps me in my professional relationships. It helps me romantically, but it also helps me in my platonic friendships and my family friendships because I have the tendency to self-sacrifice. And so I've done a lot of work to release those toxic habits. And polyamory has taught me how to take full accountability for myself, um, not to blame anybody for anything. It does not matter. I don't care if you bop me upside the head. There's something I can learn from that shit. Well, how the hell did how me bopped upside the head? That's crazy work. And
I
then I
did.
can sit with it and process it, make sense of it, and not to say, I don't believe in victim shaming because I'm not a victim.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not looking at life as happening to me. I'm looking at life as either happening through me or for me, period. And so if I'm looking at life from that standpoint, that means I take full responsibility for me. Good, bad, ugly, like it, love it, sun, rain. It's all my shit. I'm the captain of this fucking ship. And so that, I would say, polyamory, hands down, because when you are connecting with different people in different ways, pointing the blame at who? Who's at fault? Because I'm the common denominator, and I'm not finna blame me. So let me get to work to figure it out
Let
because
me
I
get
know it
to
ain't my
figure
fault.
out,
Shit,
to figure out what the fuck, why the
it
fuck.
ain't your fault. It sure ain't my fucking fault.
Right.
So let me figure out what
Let's
to
figure
do.
it out, baby. Because I'm not blaming you for nothing. I'm not blaming myself. So we need to get to working on something. Figure out.
That's it. Let's see how we got here. So Josh is at. Oh God, we missed a lot. Hold on, I gotta catch us up. Okay, so he's talking about a partner of his that I know. So I won't read this out loud, just out of respect for their privacy. But they split because he did way too much. He said we lost our individual independence, and she caught it before me. My therapy is trying to get me to not do too much. Ooh, Naomi said that's a good one, Joe. You was probably dropping gems earlier, and I couldn't keep up with the chat. Um, Josh says at every turn, romantically, platonically, familial relationships, and all, I have to fight my urge to do for others. Josh is a Cancer like me, so I feel like Cancer's lot in life is to learn how to prioritize himself.
Yes.
Um, because
Yeah.
of the cost on me. On YouTube's take on the young lady is a point in case. Fair. Love that growth. Prioritizing me is my struggle. Absolutely. I'm the youngest of my mother's children and a Cancer, pun unintended. Fair. Naomi says facts. Josh says the brain actually refusing to find fault in itself and finds excuses. You can read it all if you want. Well, I read it all. So I I totally appreciate that. Um,
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, I didn't feel like that was an overshare. I think, Josh, what you're bringing up, and I think it's dope that your ex was able to see it. I think if we were honest with ourselves, Josh, a lot of what we call love is codependency, control,
Mm-hmm.
abuse, objectification. A lot of what we call love is not love. And a lot of us are living out our trauma patterns. And it's the same trauma pattern that we did not learn how to disrupt when we were younger. And then we meet someone and then we just build the same shit. And then we end up feeling the same level of resentment, discouragement, disappointment. And we're like, well, how the fuck did I get here? Because most of us were not taught relational skills.
We were
We
not.
just weren't taught it. Oh, Josh says, I'm pretty private. Okay, fair, fair. Well, good thing I didn't say any names out loud, right? Oh,
But no, you're
me too,
right
Josh.
about relational
Yeah.
aspects. You know what I mean? Like we're not taught it, but we are supposed to observe it. And a lot of what we observe as children is not the healthiest thing. You know what I mean? Not to say we don't encounter healthy relations, but depending on your environment, most of us do not get to observe or witness something that's healthy, whether it's our childhood or our teenager. Because a lot of times I be feeling like people forget about that one. There'd be a lot of inner child focus, but don't nobody talk about that teenager who be the one that really that the teenager is the one you really have fucked up. That's the one.
Facts.
So I be feeling like, and I feel like a lot of our codependent relationships usually start as teenagers.
Mm.
Um, and a lot of us end up being stuck in those ages. You know what I mean? And that carries over into our quote unquote adult life. So I feel like a lot of us really be out here bonding as this inner teenager that we scared to heal. Because like a lot of people, like I said, a lot of us do a lot of inner child work. But then you said it, get the beast, which is really your teenager. That's the one. That's the biggest. I feel like
I
that's the
think
biggest.
you're being generous when you say a lot of us are doing inner child work. I think the reason why a lot of us don't do inner teen work is because a lot of us never even touched that inner child.
I will. Okay, I try to focus on the inner child. A lot of us
Okay.
say, you know what I mean? They be like, it's my inner child, inner child, inner child. But like you said, I will have to admit, more times than not, they are not addressing the inner child, which is why they are dealing with their teenager as adults.
Yeah. Right. And I think you're right. I think a lot of us are walking around as children or teenage, different mm, different age groups, wherever we got stunted and stuck.
Yeah.
Whether we're teenagers, whether we're in our young 20s, a lot of us are walking around in that energy no matter what age we are. We're just wearing the adult clothes. We have the adult job. We're doing adult things, but we really haven't emotionally or mentally developed beyond those days because, just the way trauma impacts your brain, right? Just there's brain science around these things.
Mm-hmm.
Where that shit happened, if you never found a way to repair, recover, or heal that wound, you really are walking around like a hurt kid,
Yep.
a hurt teenager, right? And it's not. I think sometimes we kind of weaponize that in
Mm-hmm.
people, and it's like so immature. How come they're not more and grow up? And but the reality is, everybody has trauma.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're living in a fucking trashy ass society. Everybody has trauma.
The world is ghetto,
Almost everybody.
and it ghetto would not
And,
be this.
and almost everybody comes from a dysfunctional family. Almost. And so the truth of the matter is, like, we're all maturing and growing in some way. We're all healing
Yeah.
and recovering in some shape, form, or fashion. And so I think, even with Josh, oh, he says she would hit me again. It's a joke. Okay. I still have a lot of love for my ex and her for me. We just aren't meant to be. It was found. We're still friends and actually friends. We talk periodically about stuff with no hate or regret. I love that so much. Inner work needs work. Hello, hello. Also, I'm a product of a failed marriage that should have ended years before it did. I was used as the medium of their rage for each other. And I also apologize for taking up so much time in your conversation. That's literally why we're having the conversation.
Yeah,
So,
no, it's
apology not accepted. Thanks for
nah,
engaging in my life.
right.
And then Naomi says, I've done a lot of work with my teen self, mostly around jealousy.
That's good.
Okay.
Good. I commend you for that. I do. I do. Cause that be the damn. I'm telling you, that teenager boy, and jealousy do be one of the things I feel like a lot of us deal with. I mean, naturally, like you said, trauma is something that we all experience in some way. Somebody outside right now, like when I was 11 years old, such and such did this, and that was my first heartbreak, and that's why at 40 something, I'm scared to love because of something that happened when they was 12. And that be real. And like you said, there are some people that would look at that and be like, he need to just let that go, or she need to just let that go. But like, that's not how trauma works. You know what I mean? Like, the feelings you had about that experience, it's not as easy as just they need to let that go. Like, no, they need the opportunity to really sit with that and process that. You know what I mean? And not everybody gets the opportunity to process those experiences.
I love that you worded it that way. Not everybody gets the opportunity. I do think that sometimes people who have the time and the space and the privilege to do a lot of inner work,
Mm-hmm.
uh, sometimes people can kind of get on their high horse and be like, well, if I did the work, then why can't you do the work? And everybody can everybody can't do the work. One, that's assuming that everybody even has the skills or the access or the time it takes. Those deep dives into your psyche, those deep spiritual dives, man, that shit ain't easy.
Everybody
And
don't
I
got.
don't even blame everybody for not wanting to do that shit.
When I first started doing the shit, I didn't always have the capacity for that shit. I what? Get the fuck out of here with that. Like, you gonna get one that good day out of me, and then the next 14 miss me.
You know what I'm
Like,
saying?
hell, it might be. I might do it for a week. Miss me for the next 3 months. What work? Not doing it. Don't got the capacity because, like you said, when you start doing these deep dives, it it is not a game. It is not a joke. It will have you
Mm-mm.
in motherfucking crying and rocking and rolling with your goddamn self. You think you're going crazy trying to process some shit from way back in the backs of your mind. Like, that is not. It is not a game. It is not a game, and it ain't fun, and it ain't all rainbows and rabbits. Some people make, shadow work and inner work and these things and that journey like it's a beautiful breeze, and how they feel so much better, and like, you might feel better now, but you need to be honest with people sometimes and say, hey, this process was fucking soul snatching, gut wrenching, painful.
Yeah.
It was
Got your
painful.
head knocked between the stove and the refrigerator,
Not
and
the
you
fuck
came out there with one strand of hair left, a
like
black eye, and your leg cut off.
in a house like this for no reason. It just
So, so I'm so glad I healed from that.
in the
Yeah, but
house
how you gonna heal from the healing, bitch?
in the house like, I think I feel better now. Nigga, no.
You done woke up dead. Talking about it was a transformation process. That was an ego death. No, nigga, you are actually dead. We're at
Dead,
your funeral. It's a
dead,
wrap.
dead,
Talking about some spiritual transformation.
dead. It's the telepathy. I went too far in my telepathy.
I'm trying to tell you that's the that's that move choice. But Josh said, let me read what Josh said in the comments. I'm childless. Lies. You have two dogs. We paid attention in class. You lie to somebody else.
Right.
If I'm ever a parent, I just want to teach them the things I had to learn in my life, late 20s or 30s. I'm an uncle and I can only do so much for respecting their parents' rules. First of all, if you're an uncle, you're not childless.
You're not.
Fuck that. Look,
I'm a
fuck
auntie.
that.
I'm an auntie. I don't have any kids of my own that I have birthed, but I'm an auntie with 11 nieces and nephews. And when I
You're
tell
not
you
childless.
I'm not childless, I'm not. Them
Mm-mm.
kids call me. They make their parents FaceTime me because they want to talk to me. I got my oldest nephew just went to college this year, and do I get text messages and phone calls because he need money? Yes, I do.
Hmm.
Not you're not.
Yeah, I've had kids for a very long time. I had
Mhm.
adults older than me who were my kids. My mama used to buy me Mother's Day cards every Mother's Day because she said that I was more of a mother to her than she ever was to me. So nah, because they love the kids. Now Naomi for the win. Okay, Naomi says it's Genesis. Hey boo. Naomi says it's heavy lifting. It really is. I want to slap my younger self. Well, damn. That's probably that's probably mm, okay. I'm gonna leave that alone. Fair, and we got the beginning on here. I think that's Genesis. Uh, so welcome, welcome.